In this video, we're going to talk about Bollinger Bands and explain it for beginners. So this is very much going to be an introduction to this technical indicator. So my name is Tyler Stokes from StokesTrades.com. I am on a journey to become a full-time day trader, and I am studying technical analysis at the moment. Now, if you'd like to download my 6-month blueprint that outlines everything that I've done in the first 6 months of this journey, you can find a link to that below this video, and it is 100% free. So let's talk about the Bollinger Bands. What we're going to do is talk about what they are, talk about what the components are within the Bollinger Bands, how some people use them with trading, and we will jump over to TradingView and actually look at a chart and look at and see how this technical indicator works. Now, if you're a beginner, sort of like me, you've probably seen these bands on a price chart, and you've wondered sort of what they mean and how they can help you trading. Personally, for me, I've seen these bands, they sort of stretch out, and I'm thinking, what does that mean? What are they comprised of? And I think with all these technical indicators, they can look a little bit confusing until you just kind of open the hood, look what's inside, and then figure it out, and then use a charting software like TradingView for yourself and sort of test these out and play around with them on different stocks and securities. So, the Bollinger Bands, they are actually simpler than they appear, in my opinion. Again, once you understand the basics, you will see sort of how easy these are. Many references and resources have mentioned that this is a tool you will certainly want to use with other tools. So I don't think anyone just trades using Bollinger Bands. You sort of want to use this to gain some confluence with other technical indicators and other strategies and whatnot, but you can use these bands to sort of gain confluence, gain some more conviction that a certain trade might go a certain way, and so on. So certainly don't use this tool alone. Use it with other technical indicators. So let's jump right into it. What are these Bollinger Bands? Well, this is a tool that was actually developed by someone named John Bollinger in the 1980s, and they consist of basically 3 lines. So you're going to get a middle band, and it's usually a simple moving average, usually like a 20-period moving average. So if you're looking at the daily chart, it's going to be a 20-day moving average, weekly chart, 20-week moving average, and so on. And then there's an upper band and a lower band, and these are plotted 2 standard deviations away from the middle band. So, what does that mean, 2 standard deviations away? Well, in the context here, a standard deviation is a measure of how spread out the prices are from the average price over a specific period. So it helps to understand how much the price typically varies. So if prices are really close to the average, then that standard deviation is going to be small, and that means that the price doesn't vary much, and that means the bands are going to be sort of close together. Now, if prices are spread out, so if prices are rising or dropping, then the standard deviation is going to be larger within that average. The price will vary a lot, and then the bands will expand. So how the standard deviation works with the Bollinger Bands, that middle band, the middle line there, it's a simple moving average. So it calculates the average price over a specific period. Again, 20 days or weeks or months, whatever period you're looking at. And then to calculate the standard deviation, you look at how much each price in the period deviates from the average price. And then these average these deviations to understand the typical price variation. So the upper band, you would add 2 standard deviations to the middle to get that upper, and then to get the lower band, you subtract 2 standard deviation from the middle band. So we're not going to get into the math of what comprises these standard deviations, but just know that that when you use these standard deviations for this Bollinger Band, the bands adjust to market conditions, expanding during volatile periods and then contracting during stable periods. So as the prices in that moving average vary a lot and there's a lot of volatility, the bands are going to expand. And then, when there is less volatility and things are a little bit boring, you will see the bands start to more compress or get closer to the simple moving average. There's less movement. The standard deviations are much smaller. So So that's basically where the math or the standard deviation comes from. And again, we're not going to touch on the math there, but here we can see on the screen, we've got, a picture of the a daily chart using the standard deviation, using the Bollinger Bands. And again, the middle line here is a 20-day moving average. So this smooths out the price action over this period. And then the upper band is going to be 2 standard deviations above this blue band. So you can see as price rises, the band expands because the standard deviations are larger. And then the lower band is 2 standard deviations taken away. So this band minus 2 standard deviations, and then it goes lower here. So as the price rises, there's more volatility, the bands expand. And when you can see here some consolidation and prices just moving sideways, the bands are compressed. So that is sort of the math or the explanation behind how this technical indicator is comprised of. That's sort of what it means. When prices are more volatile, more spread out, the bands widen. When prices are less volatile, closer together, the bands narrow. And here's a picture of a monthly chart. And you can see here as prices rise up, and remember, these are monthly monthly period candles. So this price change is quite dramatic. And you can see here the bands are expanding down. So in terms of how to interpret these, and we're going to jump over to the charts, but I thought we really want to just get through these key insights and understand those quickly and discuss them, and then jump over to the charts and apply them to the charts. But in terms of how to interpret this technical indicator, and straight from Bollinger himself, he reads and writes, Bollinger Bands answer a question: are prices high or low on a relative basis? So that's what this technical indicator can provide you. By definition, price is high at the upper band and price is low at the lower band. That bit of information is incredibly valuable. It is even more powerful if combined, again, with other tools such as other indicators for confirmation. So in terms of some key insights here, and then we'll jump over to the charts. We talked about the components there, the 20 moving average, typically in the middle, but trend determination can be something that is beneficial from using this technical indicator. So you can use these Bollinger Bands on a monthly chart to identify some long-term trends. So you can use this technical indicator on many different time frames, but when you look at it on a monthly chart, you can really see some of the long-term trends. When the lower band expands downward, this indicates that whatever you're looking at, the stock or the crypto security, is rising higher, suggesting that you ride the trend. So anytime on a monthly chart there's a big drop in the Bollinger Band, that means the price is really rising, and you should ride that trend. And we'll look at some examples. If the lower band starts to curl up, that could signal that there's a possible trend change or just a slowdown. We'll look at that on the charts as well. Volatility and breakouts. The tight Bollinger Band suggests there's low volatility, and sometimes that precedes a breakout. So if things are stretched out and very tight, it might mean that a breakout is coming, and you can expect a significant move to the upside or downside when the bands are very, very tight. Confluence with other indicators, we talked about that. Combine this tool with other technical indicators to add more confluence to your analysis, enhancing your decision. So don't rely just on one tool, especially not just this one. And then just some entry and exit points on a larger scale, a monthly chart. Hitting or breaking through the lower Bollinger Band on a monthly chart, that could signal a good entry point, especially when combined with other indicators. The price tends not to stay outside of the bands, and we'll show some examples of that for a long time. And then if price is way above the upper band, then consider potentially taking profits. Price might move back down a little bit. So those are the key insights. This article you can find below this video just to reference it yourself. But let's jump over to TradingView now and sort of take what we've learned here in this quick discussion and just look at some charts and see how it applies. So this first chart is, we're just going to look at Tesla, and this is the daily chart, and we are on a linear scale here. So, here we've applied the Bollinger Bands to this chart. So the blue line here is the 20-day moving average. So we're on a daily chart. So each candle represents one day. And you can see it smooths out the price action. And then we've got the upper band and the lower band. You can see when price is rising here, the bands will expand. And then when price is, trending sideways, you can see that the bands are closer together. So there's not a lot of difference between the average of the prices. Therefore, the bands don't extend up. Remember, as the bands, this band is 2 standard deviations above this moving average, and this is 2 standard deviations below. So tight bands like this sometimes precede a breakout, and then as the bands expand, this could be a good time to ride the trend as this is progressing upwards. And here on the daily, you can just see this good example here. As the bottom band starts to curl up, that's right in line with this candle here that reached a high of 267, and then it's preceded by a candle that closes this particular day with a low of 239. So you can see that the Bollinger Bands, curling up here could be an indication that the trend is slowing down or changing. So as the price is up here on the top of these Bollinger Band, the upper band here, that could have been a good place to potentially take some profits and potentially re-enter down here. And anytime price jumps out of a monthly chart on the lower end, that could be a good entry point as well. So you can just see here, when price reaches the upper band, it tends to act as resistance and come back in. And then when price reaches the lower band, it tends to act as a support, and price tends to gravitate back inside the Bollinger Band. So again, this is just one example on Tesla. Come to TradingView, use this chart and just chart it out with some other examples. We'll jump over now to a higher time frame here. So we can see now we're looking at the monthly chart for Tesla. So we can kind of see here back in the certain monthly time frames here when we can see where the price left the Bollinger Band. So again, this is the monthly chart, so it gives more long-term trends. But you can see here, we've got 2 months here where price was outside of the Bollinger Bands. That's when we had the all-time low there, given the recent years in Tesla, down to whatever it went to, 101.81. Obviously, that could have been a good entry point. In hindsight, you would really want to have bought in here with Tesla particularly. But you can also see here, we've got a wick down on a monthly chart here, all the way almost to the bottom of the Bollinger Band here. And that's when we had that low back in April, went down to 138.80. So, in hindsight, again, many people would have really liked to get into Tesla here during this low price that reached the the bottom of the band here on a monthly chart. So if that happens ever in charts on a monthly chart, and the company is relatively healthy, that could signal a really good entry point on a monthly chart. And then here we've got an example where the Bollinger Bands are extending down, and this could be a good time to ride the trend. So you can see here, the trend here is rising. Again, this is when Tesla took off in late 2019, and you can see the Bollinger Band extended all the way down. And if we go all the way down to here, we can see that right around this particular time, January 21, and a little bit after, is when the Bollinger Band is starting to curl up. So that could be an indication to potentially take some profits, or it could be an indication that the trend is slowing down or changing. So again, if we looked at the chart January 21, to February 21, and we came back up and sort of just looked at the price action in those times, January 21. So right here, so we had a high of 300. So could have been a good time to potentially look to take some money off the table, because afterwards, we hit back a low a couple months later. We went down to a low of 180. So, again, hindsight is 2020, but you could have sold here at 300, re-entered a couple months later at a potentially a lower time if you wanted to trade Tesla like that. But that is what the Bollinger Bands were saying. They were curling up, saying that this potential, big trend could be kind of slowing down. And then you can see some sideways action there. So in terms of, that happened again, or previous history back in 2013 that happened. And if we kind of look at some other charts here, so that's Tesla with, again, this Bollinger Band extending down, ride the trend up. And then as the blower band starts to curl, that could be a good time to exit. And if we kind of go and look at something happening more recently with Nvidia, obviously, market conditions, now we've got quite a bit of a potential sell-off with a lot of things coming back to test support. But, this Bollinger Band started to extend here. We can look at the day here, May 23, and the price of Nvidia pre-split was $41. So if we started and you potentially invested here in May 23, and then we took the Bollinger Band all the way down and it extends, and as it starts to curl back up, we'll see when it actually curls. Had such a big run here. Right around June 24, you can see it starts to curl up. That could be a signal that things are starting to pause or potentially reverse or slow down. So June, so you entered here anytime, we said May 23 at 40, and then, June 24, that was the all-time high of $140. So again, hindsight's 2020, but these Bollinger Bands on a monthly chart could be good indications of, when to get in on a stock, on a trend, ride the trend up. And then, as the Bollinger Band is curling up there, could be a good time to take some profits. And, these two examples show you, when the stock was starting to rise on a big uptrend and when exactly it hit its high and that Bollinger Band curled back up. Now, it could be just a temporary slowdown, and then Nvidia could take off again. But again, we'll have to keep an eye on what's going on with the market at the moment. We're August sort of 3rd here, and we've had quite a bit of a sell-off, things just coming back to test various levels of support. So that's just some ways to use the Bollinger Bands. Other people are going to use this in their strategy in other ways. These were just some examples of using a monthly chart and getting, a more of a broad trend, position on where the trend is on various stocks. And you can see that, riding these trends, more of a long-term type of trade, using these Bollinger Bands can be useful. But, some traders, day traders, swing traders, you can also use Bollinger Bands on a shorter time frame, like a daily or, a 4-hour chart, and use it with other tools as well for, other types of trading decisions on a lower time frame as well. So I hope that you found this useful. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. We will talk in the next video where we're going to look at more technical indicators, and then we're going to move on to some strategy talk later this year. So thanks a lot for watching. I hope that you found this useful. Also, go and check out TradingView. There's a link below this video. You can come and you can kind of test these indicators out. Just play around with them, see what a stock has done over the time, and various, time frames as well. Again, this is the monthly chart, so we can move this down to, if we do the weekly chart, and we're on log scale here, we can kind of see how things differ a little bit here. So, on a weekly chart, you can see that it had some compression here. Now it's riding up the top of the band. So anytime things get on the top of the Bollinger Band, it could be a sign that it's going to retract back in potentially and move back towards the average in certain spots. So here we're outside of the band for a couple weeks here. This is a weekly chart, and then it moved sort of back in. Anytime it comes down and tests the lower band, that's good levels of support, these Bollinger Bands. So, entry here could be a good time. And again, this is a weekly chart. You can do this on a daily or a longer time frame as well. But again, hope that you found this useful. Check out Bollinger Bands, this indicator on TradingView, play around with it, and you're going to get more familiar with it if you kind of get your hands on these tools using some sort of charting software. So thanks again. We'll see you in the next video.